Welcome to the Mixing Babies and Business podcast. I'm your host, Amy Lynch. I'm covering all things parenthood, business, flexible, and remote work with kids. Think of it as your virtual village where you can tune into stories from other business and community leaders who also happen to be parents negotiating for their needs, taking up space, and navigating the future of work. Season 6 is sponsored by the Mixing Babies and Business Changemaker program for people who want to do things differently, create an impact, and advocate for primary caregivers and their families along the way. Sign up to learn more at mixingbabiesandbusiness.com/changemaker. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, like, follow, and leave a review online. It helps other parents find the podcast. Peggy Cheyo is a parent, coach, facilitator, speaker, teacher, and home educator. With over 18 years of experience in education, training, healthcare, wellness, and personal development, Peggy specializes in supporting neurodivergent adults as they navigate work and family life. Our conversation is split into 3 parts. In our third and final episode, we talk about parent-friendly professional development, her hopes for the future, and how you can connect with her. Let's get into it. Have your children taught you anything surprising since you've started your business journey that you maybe didn't realize about yourself or about being a mother in general?
Oh, probably plenty. I suppose that I'm stronger and more resourceful than I think I am. Because sometimes I feel like, well, especially with the ADHD, like I feel I'm rubbish, I'm not managing as well as other people. And yet when I look back, I've been juggling, working with home educating, always having the children at home. And even with the home educating, it's taught me that I am really resourceful because often people tell me, oh, you're brave, I would never be able to teach my children. But I've never really taught my children. I've always tried to find the resources that would help them learn. So I feel I've done more researching and resource finding than actually teaching. So it's to the point where a friend was telling me when I was trying to look at where I would go after working around pregnancy, when I knew I wanted to move on. Oh, you should be a researcher for the police. You're so good at finding all the things. And it's true. I love researching. I love discovering new things, sharing my knowledge. And even though I knew I didn't want to be a teacher again, I've kind of stayed in that space of sharing whatever I find with others in a different way. And so I suppose that's one of the things that they've taught me.
Yeah, that's a good one because you're also not excluding yourself from the idea of being a home educator or starting your own business. You're still trying to make it work. And then you just have to adapt depending on your kids' ages. I usually like to ask people, what kind of professional development do you enjoy these days? So your kids are teens at the stage that your business is in.
Well, I'm a bit of a training addict, so anything, I would say. But to be fair, anything that is more knowledge-based, or like I don't enjoy learning things about business. That bores me. But give me a webinar or a training around neurodiversity or how the mind and body connects and all these kind of things, then I will be first in queue to go. And any kind, or I suppose I have been attending more business things, but they've always been community-based or with a networking meeting or things like this. If it's purely business-based or processes or all of that, no, I switch off. But anything, that is more about learning new things in terms of understanding the body, understanding myself, understanding my clients, that I tend to like a lot.
Yeah, it's the scientist in you. You want to research and experiment. I always ask this one. I like to ask, we're in the future, your kids have grown up. What kind of world do you hope that they inherit? And how is your work that you're doing now contributing to that, if at all?
What I would love is to see in 10, 15, 20 years, a world where neurodivergence is more of a general concept rather than trying to peg into I'm dyslexic, I'm dyspraxic, I'm ADHD. Like, I think it would be so much more useful to understand just generally how our neurodivergence affects us, but also where our strengths are. Because with the diagnosis, the way it is at the moment, we tend to try to look at it's kind of the medical-based system of disability where you try to see everything that is negative, when actually they are also positive. But until you can understand what affects you and how you can support it, you can't really look at what is good. So, for example, what I was saying about sensory needs, I used to really struggle when I was a teacher and be so exhausted at the end of the day. And now I understand it's all the noise. I really struggle in noisy environments. So being able to understand that would have meant I would have chosen a completely different career. I would still have been able maybe to work with children, but not in a busy classroom of 30 kids, because that just didn't work for me. Yeah. So I think I hope that in the future there are kind of neurodiversity centers where you can get some education, you can understand yourself at a much earlier age, where there is energy and resources for helping children to grow in a way that they understand themselves from much earlier on, and they can make good choices for them with their neurodivergence, with their nervous system, and not end up in burnout and depression, as so many young people are now, which is quite sad. So yeah, hoping that will change.
That is an excellent one I can get behind, because I've really noticed the self-esteem piece and the link to us and them, or this or that, and I'm not this, and I'm not included in this, or I don't perform or think this way, therefore I'm bad, instead of, no, this is just the way I am, and an acceptance of the way the information is presented is not designed for me to be successful. So instead of trying to fit into that or adapt to that, I would love to see more different formats of teaching and accommodations, instead of just removing them from a situation, as we do sometimes in Canada, which further compounds the effect on the self-esteem and the lack of connection and community. Like you say, that you actually thrive within a group. So to separate you from the group is not the answer. Yeah, so I can get behind that, Peggy. And I also have been learning so much about neuroscience that I just wish we would also learn in school to have a better understanding of the brain. How can others who are listening connect to you and your work? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
The best way is going through the website, peggycheyo.com. So PEGYCHEYO.com. I have a free call on there, so you can just book a call if you want to just chat about what you might be wondering about your neurodivergence, or if you need any signposting to things that could be supportive. I'm not a pushy salesperson, so I will never try to sell you coaching if that's not what you're looking for. So yeah, always happy to have a chat with anyone who needs a bit of guidance or signposting with anything neurodivergence or motherhood related.
Well, thank you for your time, Peggy, and for sharing all the different ways that you can do parenting and educating and business and coaching, and how there's always a different way that can be better suited to yourself. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Amy, to have me. It was lovely.
Thanks again to Peggy for speaking with me about retraining after having her first baby, homeschooling her kids, and supporting neurodivergent adults as clients as they navigate work and family life. Check out her work at peggycheyo.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, or follow and leave a review. It helps other parents around the world find the podcast. Connect with me online and access your parent-friendly entrepreneurship, flexible, and remote work resources at mixingbabiesandbusiness.com. Thanks for listening.